Welcome everybody back to my YouTube channel, Gemology for Beginners. This is the course 101 part 2. And what we have here is a tray of gems that we're going to show how to look at them and see if they're real or not. So the first steps we do is we turn around and we get ourselves a loupe, which is called a triplet because it has 3 lenses inside of it, and you use this to look at inclusions in it to see if they're visible through looking through this particular loupe. In this case, I'm going to take this stone right here and we're going to take this out, and this is a sapphire. It's a serpentine sapphire, and we're going to take a look at the stone. You can turn around and go like that, and you got a light source that you want to use to look at it. So what we're going to do here is we're going to use a cheap way of doing this, if you would like, while you're out in the field, is you could take your phone and you have there's a program in the phone that has what we call a white screen, and that gives you light. So with this light, you can take the stone and put it right onto this screen here, and you take the loupe and it's going to slide around a little on me. There we go. And you can take your loupe and you look at it through the loupe at the stone, and you get as close as you can, and you see if there's any flaws that you can see within the stone with your magnifying glass or high loupe. We can turn it over. We can look at this side, look for any inclusions, anything that's spotting, such as water spots, or what we call liquid spots, any carbon, or any other type of debris or whatever that may be in there. So after you do that and you check that, you can mark down where they're at. And you can also tell, excuse me a minute. So now you have taken a look at that, and you've looked at it that way. Another way you can do it is you can take your light, which I showed you earlier, and in this case what we're going to do is we're going to take and put the small end of the light, we're going to spin it off of this right here, which holds this small piece on. We turn it, take it off, that's what holds it from losing it. And you stick it onto the end of here, you push it on. You can turn on your light so that it's on, and you can actually take the stone and balance the stone on the light like that, if you would like. And you can then also look inside and see if there's anything that's showing. Okay? So that gives you an idea how the loupe works. Now, the next thing we want to do is we're going to take the stone off of this for a moment. We're going to put the light down, and we're going to check to see what impurities are in it. And what I mean by impurities is what types of metals or minerals inside of it may block light from coming out. So you would put your scope here, which this is called a spectroscope, and you use this to look to see the colors in the side. And within the spectroscope itself, I don't know if you can see it or not, we'll try to do this. It's a little hard, but you can see that there's colors within the spectroscope. If you put a light to it, you can see the color prisms. And it goes from a violet to a red. So what you do is you take your stone and you put your stone, let me move this up a little bit so I got room. Take your stone, put your stone onto the light, and we dropped it. Normally we don't want to do that because some of the stones can cost you a lot of money and it'd be hard to find and you could be out quite a bit of money. So you take the stone like that, you put it on the light like that if you'd like. So now you can see that it's glowing. And you take your spectroscope and you put it in like this on an angle so you can see at 30 degrees or on top if you want, and see what you see in the spectroscope. And if you look very closely, you can see the colored lines and the shadows, and find out if there's anything that's in there and what type of material it may be. It could be anything from aluminum, copper, brass, but any types of materials, and it gives you the different colors and marks out what is blocking it, which is what the mineral is that's in there. You can also do a dimmer color if you would like, and also do the same thing. It'll still work, but it won't be as bright. But again, what you're trying to do here is take the stone and the loop, and you're looking into the stone to see what you have as far as colors, and that's how you determine that. So now we know that this is what it is. It's a spessartite, which is a yellow garnet. So we're going to put this back into here, and we know what that is just by looking at it that way. We know that the lines that we get, the colors that we get, and all the markings. That's how you use your eye loop to see the stones, and also use your spectroscope to see the colors and what's in there, and shows, depending on what lines there are and where they're at, tells you what type of stone it's going to be. So now we've done that. So that helps us figure out what type of stone this is. if we did not know what it was. We put this back away, make sure that's safe, put it away. Your torch you can still have, or a light. It lasts for a long time. And what we do is we turn around and we take this piece back off when we're done, and we turn around and simply thread it back onto its holding piece. Now sometimes this is a pain because you have to get it just right because of the threads, because they're thin threads. But usually I can get it going just like that. Make sure it's on there good and tight. And that way you don't lose this piece. And that goes with the light and stays with the light. And if you get a good light, as what I showed you here, this is a power style light. It's a power style light, and it comes in this box to protect it. It also comes with a small USB cable. If you want to use that, that's fine, but I use a regular USB cable that I use for other things because they're longer. So now we put our tools back that we got from here, and now we know that that's what that stone is. Okay, so we do again the same thing to each different stone that we have. Of course, we also have stones that are in these very unique, like these right here that I got right here. These are what they call alexandrites. They're different colored alexandrites, but they're alexandrites. What alexandrites are is they're a stone that's a changing color stone, which in natural sunlight they're one color, and in indoor light they're a different color. They change color from a lighter color to a darker color. So we have here a lot of different types of spessartines. We've got spinels. These are spinels. Some of these. We've got moonstones. Wait, I'm sorry. These are moonstones here. So these are all special stones that I've got in this particular tray. You also have stones like these, which are pretty easy to, you don't need a light, you don't need anything, that you can just look at it. You can look in a book and you can tell what they are and know that these are malachites. Okay, so some of them I mark on the bottom, that way it helps a little bit, because when you get so many different stones, sometimes it's hard to forget what you've got as far as stones, and so you mark them on the bottom so you can tell what they are. Like this one right here, this is a bloodstone, or no, I'm sorry, this is a jasper, and this one here is a very nice stone to have, and I believe this one is a jasper. So again, they come in different colors: green, dark, red, white. These right here, these are turquoise. That's turquoise. Okay, this is normally where you see turquoise, which is all green and a very little bit of the sand color in it, or yellow, or whatever color you want to call it. And this one is completely with a little bit of green, that sand color, but still it's a stone that is worth some little bit of money. These stones are very popular, throughout the United States. They're very inexpensive. You can find them just about anywhere. Where they come from mostly is Arizona. You can find them all around Arizona. And a lot of these stones come from the U.S. Some come from different areas of the world. This particular stone here, which is very unique, this is a mystical topaz because it has, if you notice, many different colors of what the topaz is. As you can see, it's got blue, yellow, red, green, and those are very nice to collect. So this is my special tray of stones. To go on, that's first how you check when you get a stone on what it is. First you use your eye loop. You take and see what's in there. Then the next thing you do is you use your spectroscope to see if it's real or not, because it should show inclusions in it. Doesn't matter how big or how small they are, but there should be some inclusions in it. Then the next thing is, if you want, you can use a microscope to look into the stones to see them deeper, to see how deep the inclusions are, how big or how small they are. And that helps you to tell the grading of the stone. For instance, I got here two of them. This right here, this is a 1 carat diamond, and the way we detect that is, again, another tool that you're going to want to get yourself is a diamond tester. Now you got to make sure that you get a newer diamond tester, because the older ones, what they do is they give you a fake reading on certain stones. There are some stones that actually do sound like a diamond when you test them. But in this case, what we're going to do is we're going to take this diamond out. This is a 1 carat. And we're going to take the tester out of its case. I'm going to take this off. It also comes with a nice little metal plate here, which helps out in testing. And you put the plate down. You take the diamond. You put the diamond on whichever hole it'll fit best in on the plate. And in this case, this one should fit in the big hole. And we let it sit there. Matter of fact, maybe we can go to a smaller hole if we want. Here, now it's not as wiggly. And what you do is you turn on your diamond tester. Make sure it's up. Now what I usually do is I'll bring it up just before that. This is where I leave it, and I wait for the lamp to come on to say that it's ready. So if you can see, there's only one light on. Once it's ready, there'll be a second light. What this does is it gives a tiny amount of heat and also sound. So that's how it knows what a diamond, because it gives a certain resonance when you are checking a diamond, and as far as sound, to know what the diamond is. So in this case, when we take the needle point and we turn around and touch the stone, you hear it. It goes all, it's beeping, which turns around and tells me that this is a real diamond. So we know that that's a diamond. That's how we check diamonds. Number one. So now we know that's a diamond. What are we going to do next? The next thing we're going to do is we're going to take and we're going to use a loop again to see if there's any imperfections in it that you can see. Oops, wrong way. You put the tester back in the box, take the stone off of the metal plate, put it off to the side, and put the metal plate back in its pocket and in here so you won't lose it. And we can put this away. Now the next thing we want to do is we want to look to see where the inclusions are. How big they are, how deep they are, and where they're at. So again, that's where we use the loop. And we can turn around and just with our finger put it on there, however you feel that's best that you want to take a look and look at the stone and see if you can see any inclusions in the stone. So once you see inclusions, you can know what type of diamond or what value of this diamond is going to be. In this case, this here particular diamond has a scale, and diamonds all have scales, of what we call a V, which is for very. A VV is a very, very, and a VVV is a very, 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 and then there's an S after it, which means the seclusions, and then there's either a 1 or a 2 after it. If there's a 1, that means there's very little inclusions in it. If there's a 2, there's a few more inclusions that are not as many, but there are there. Usually they're hidden in places when they cut diamonds so that you can't see them to the naked eye. But a good stone, such as this particular one here, is a VVVS1, and then it has a color scaling of D. Well, D is being the highest color as far as being white. So this is a very good stone. I also have a half carat diamond here, which again is a VVVS1, where you can't see anything unless you use a microscope to be able to see the inclusions in it. So they're both very good, very clean, very expensive diamonds. The cleaner they are, the better the color they are, the more they're worth. And that's how they figure out the prices of diamonds. There's also a very high markup on diamonds too, because you can get diamonds cheap if you look around. There's many of wholesalers that you can find overseas that you can get diamonds from, which are very inexpensive. But here, when you go to a jewelry shop, they have them marked up. The company that controls the price of diamonds is called De Beers. They're the company that is the largest as far as for diamonds, and they pretty much control the diamond prices. And I don't go by what De Beers says, because I can get them for a lot better price than what De Beers does. But anyways, this is how you first check stones to make sure that they are real and that they are, they're authentic, they're not glass or anything like that. If it was glass or if it was a crystal, you wouldn't see any imperfections. They wouldn't change in color or things like that. They would just be plain looking stone that stays the same no matter which way you look at it. And that's how we turn around and look at if it's real or not. So that's how you first find out if you've got a real stone. once you found out you got a real stone and you kind of know what you've got, maybe you don't know the name of it, because I've been doing this long enough that I can tell that what I see, I can tell what stone it is. Then you grab one of your books that I showed you earlier, and you can go through the book, and the book will tell you and explain to you that if it has these color bars, or it has this, or if the stone looks like this picture here, this is what it's going to be. It can be anything from a sapphire, it can be a emerald, it can be a ruby. There's many different types of rubies. There's many different types of sapphires. So the more expensive sapphires are the ones that are not that reddish brown color. That's a common, normal, ordinary sapphire. The ones that are more expensive are these, which are serpentines, which are spessartines, which are yellow in color or yellowish orange in color. You also have green. That's another color of a sapphire. So they do come in many different colors. Same thing like diamonds. Diamonds come in different colors. They come in a champagne color. They come in black. They come in blue. They come in red. Okay, again, that's why you use these test equipment to figure out what do you really have. Then from there you can tell the next step on down the line, and you kind of write out what you're seeing and follow what you read in the books on how to check the stone to make sure that it is a real stone. Because there are a lot of people out there that do sell stones that they say they're real, but they're not. And those are the type of people that are scrupulous, and we don't want to deal with these people. The people I'd like to deal with are people I have known, people I've met while I've been in Southeast Asia, and I will deal with them because they're wholesalers and I know them personally. And if I ask them, hey, I want this or I want that, they'll get it for me. And they'll usually get me a good quality stone because they know that that's what I want and that's what I like. So this is just one tray of many trays that I have of stones. So this is the first way of learning the hobby, is looking at them and seeing how clean the stone is and what type of stone you have. A lot of the common stones are going to be topaz, emeralds, sapphires, rubies. You're going to have amethysts. You're going to have citrine. These are all common everyday stones that are very inexpensive that you can get, and that's why I say get yourself first a bulk package, which gives you a bunch of each of stones and different sizes and different shapes. They can be round, they can be square, they can be pear shape. You have to excuse my language, and pardon me. I deal with Parkinson's, so it's a little bit hard for me to do this. But anyways, so you put everything into groups, and then once you put them all into different color groups, then you put them together, and then you check them out, make sure they're correct. So this is how you do the first part of the one diamond or gemstones 101. This is what you exactly do, is how we start looking at stones. And in our next video, we're going to show some more complex ways of looking at the stones and seeing how we can make sure too of what they are by doing other special tests. And those tests I'll have to set up ahead of time and show you. They're a little more expensive, but they're worth the money, especially if you're going to be a good collector of these, or if you want to buy them cheap and then resell them and make some money on them, which you can. It's not hard to remake money on it. It may not happen right away, but you will make money on stones. If somebody wants that stone, they're going to get it, no matter what it is. They will get the stone. And it's what they're willing to pay. You can always, how should I say, dicker the price. You know, it's the same thing like everything else. You buy low and you sell high, and that's how you make a profit in this industry. And also, it's a great industry that I like, where I get to collect all these beautiful samples that I get to keep, that are of rare stones that I can pass down from generation to generation, and have them go up in value as they last longer and longer and longer. The supply becomes less and less and less, and now becomes more of a demand. They also go up in value after a while, because not all stones are mined, that there's enough throughout the world for everybody. Diamonds are coming down in prices, or should start be coming down in prices. It depends on, again, what De Beers wants to do, because there are now quite a bit of diamond mines in Canada. So just in Canada and in South Africa, which that's where they all used to come from, which was South Africa. Now that you got Canada there, now we got a more of a supply, which means there's a less of demand, because there's plenty of diamonds that are being pulled out of the ground. So they're going to have to lower the pricing of diamonds. How much lower, we don't know, but that's up to them what they want to do. So anyways, that's this part of the Gemstones 101 for today. And our next video will be on Gemstones 101 Part 3, where I will start using some more sophisticated equipment to show you also how you can tell what stone is what with other means of looking at them, such as what we call specific gravity, which what that is it's the stone weighed in the air, what we call just straight on the scale, and then you weigh the stone in water, and then the difference between those two is what the actual gravity of the stone is, and tells you more and gets you closer to the stone that you're looking for and that you want. And that's an easier way to tell the difference between 2 or 3 blue stones that may be 2 or 3 different types of stones because of their specific gravity. The other thing we'll be looking at is the light, on how much light is reflected out of them. We have a refractometer, which I'll show you how to use, which that gives you the number of refractions of light that comes out and says, yes, this is a ruby, or yes, this is a sapphire, because of the certain number that it shows when you're looking at it. And that will be next in part 3 of this beginners of Gemology 101. As for now, please, and as always, to make my channel look more better and to get more people, please click the like and ring the bell, make comments if you want. I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have, and be able to enlighten you on more of what's going on with stones. It's a wonderful hobby to get into, and they're very beautiful, um, and they're very fun. They're fun to have. They're fun to look at. They're very enjoyable. Um, Another thing is too, they're like anything else. They become more valuable, which means if we start having money issues, again, it's another way of trading for money and being able to survive, such as like the gold and silver and all that. There may be a day that all that comes. But for now, that's it for this segment of the Gemology Beginners 101 class. And I'd like to thank you all for watching and hope to see you next week. Thank you.